Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to another episode of Evolving Perspectives. My name is Mattea, your podcast host, and on this podcast, we dive deep into the stories of everyday people, discussing the hurdles they face and the triumphs they've achieved. We have real, raw conversations where we laugh, we cry, we uncover the incredible resilience within us all. From overcoming personal setbacks to navigating life's unexpected twists, each episode that you tune into is a testament to the human spirit's capacity to persevere and thrive. Tune in as we share moments of vulnerability, inspiration, and ultimately empowerment. Get ready to be uplifted and inspired as we showcase the unwavering strength of the human heart on Evolving Perspectives. Chime in. Welcome to another episode of Evolving Perspectives. My name is Mattea, and I am your podcast host, and I am yet again here to bring you another dynamic episode of Evolving Perspectives. I have such a special guest on today, and I'm super excited to share the platform with her. You know, I always start my episodes out with a little bit of information. And when I say information, y'all already know how this goes. I like to give my guests their flowers. And so today I will be doing just that. My guest that I have on today is an amazing woman. She is a mother. She is a wife. She is a pediatrician. She is a woman of God. She's a woman of faith. She is dedicated to serving her community. But one of the things that I absolutely love about this young woman is the fact that she is so dedicated to being able to serve her community and serve her people through the gift that God has given her. I am so proud of the work that she has done, the impacts that she's made in the community, and all the things that she does to serve locally. Not only is she true to what she's been called to do, but she's such an amazing woman altogether. I am so excited about all that she will continue to do and the strides that she will make with the people that have been placed in her life. The way that she operates with her family is something so very precious and something to be emulated. And when I think about her, I think about just how much patience and grace you have to operate the way that she does. So I want to welcome to my platform, to Evolving Perspectives, introduce you to none other than my friend, Dr. Faith Gardner. Welcome to the platform, sis.
Hi, everybody. I should have gotten my tissues. What is happening? Like, I'm about to be in full-blown tears, Mattea. Like, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You deserve all that. You deserve all that. I am so excited about you being here. But before we get started, you know, I did, of course, introduce you, but I would like for you to formally introduce yourself to my listening audience. So they're like, who is this? Who are you talking about, girl? Who is that?
Hi, everybody. I am Faith Gardner. I hail from Greensboro, North Carolina. I was born and raised here in Greensboro, but went away, and maybe something I say in my introduction, you'll be able to say, I knew that's why that was my girl. I went to Hampton University. I know, Mattea, you're based in Virginia, and so you may have some Hamptonians listening to you. Shout out to the Pirates. I graduated from Hampton. I met my husband and married my college sweetheart. So we met freshman year at Hampton University. His name is James. He is an urban farmer here in Greensboro. It's crazy because his last name is Gardner and he's a gardener. So I'm sure we may talk more about that later on in the episode. we have 5 children. So we have 4 boys.
Mm-hmm.
We had 4 boys. We thought we were done. So we were like chilling. I'm a boy mom. I'm buying all the boy mom stuff. And then we had an oops baby. And sure enough, that was our girl. So we have 4 boys and a daughter. And we're just living here in Greensboro. I always wanted to come back home and practice medicine. So I'm really living my dream. And I'm happy to be here. I met Mattea. I met you probably 25 years ago. It's been a while. We go way back. We go way back. So I'm looking forward to talking to you and just, catching up.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking about it yesterday and I was like, oh my gosh, like I got to Greensboro and it was 1996.
Yeah, I was 13.
And
I'm aging myself. Yeah.
I was like I've known you since you were like a teenager for real. Like, I mean, I was a young, like older teenager, but like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have literally, and which is one of the reasons that I wanted to bring you on the podcast because I truly have seen you evolve over time. And I just have so much, I mean, literally just in preparation of this podcast, I was like, there are so many things that we could discuss. I mean, from just growing up, going through school, I mean, like just all the things. But one of the things that I think is so funny is just last week I had another Hampton graduate on, and it was so fun. I'm like, where am I getting all these Hampton people from? And so, I mean, anyway, and so she was phenomenal. We grew up together, and I don't know. I don't think I'm not sure if she would have been there while you were there. And it was funny because she told her story as well, and she met her husband at Hampton as well. And so I was like, what is it about Hampton? What is matchmaker?
Well, Virginia is the state of love. What's the thing for Virginia? The love state or something like that?
Virginia is for lovers.
Virginia is for lovers, and then you get a campus that's surrounded by water. I mean, it's the setting for love.
Yeah, it's definitely the setting. It's definitely the setting. And so I wanted to, we're going to start here because let me just say and I was trying to think about things that have stuck out in my mind over the years of our exchanges. And I remember, and you probably don't even remember this, I remember when you and James kind of first were, maybe when you got engaged, or either when you first got married. And of course, everybody's like, so y'all want to have kids? What you want to do? And maybe I don't remember this correctly. I could be wrong, but I'm almost certain. I was like, so Faith, how many kids you want to have? And you were like, probably like 7. Or something. And I said, who's doing that? I said, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 7. I mean, 7. And so you was like, yes, I want a whole basketball team, Mattea. I need all of it. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I want to start there because let's be honest, it is 2024. And nowadays people are so career driven and so really into, I want to do me, I want to do, And so I know you initially, of course, when you introduced yourself, you all have 4 children and then you had, your 5th one. But I really want to talk to you about, number one, was that always, well, now because you shared that with me, of course, I feel like that was always in your heart, but was that always a thing? Was that something that you just knew you wanted to have, like a big tribe, or were you kind of like, we just gonna see what we gonna do and we just gonna go from there?
So I may have started off saying that. I talked a lot of junk growing up, so I probably could have said that. I think we narrowed it down when we started, like when we actually got married. I think we narrowed it down to 4. So we never said we only want 1 or 2. We knew we wanted a pretty big family. And my husband comes from a family. He has 4 siblings. And then, of course, it's my brothers and I. And then, but my dad had 8 kids in his family. So he was one of 8. And I just love the holidays.
Yeah.
I love the village that's automatically built in with having a big family. And so we definitely wanted to have more than 2 or 3. 5 was never in the picture. I think, especially after we started having boy after boy, with every
Right.
child. And even when I got pregnant with my 3rd one, my dad was like, y'all need to stop having kids. Like he thought that was too much. Especially with everything that we had going on. So, yeah, I know a lot of people want to have that balance of family life and career and community and all of that. And so they put limitations on the kids. But really, I mean, our kids are at an age now where they're helping us.
Yeah.
And they're extensions of us. And so they're actually going to allow us to do more for a longer period of time. Once we're dead and gone, they'll be
That,
here. So
yeah,
that's a way of looking at it.
absolutely. What an interesting perspective. I think for me, to be honest, I was the person who was like, if I have 1 or 2, I'm good. If I have 1, ain't nobody mad but the devil. Like, I just was like, I'm just not built like that. I just am not. And so I love that you shared that, because I think for people who are having multiple children, sometimes you kind of get looked upon like, why you got so many kids? I mean, and I've seen that not with people who are just out here having kids randomly, even in communities where people, that are married, people are like, oh my gosh, she's pregnant again, and I hear people defending like, it is my husband and this is our choice, you know what I mean, type situation. And I think I love the fact that I have really seen how you all parent your children intentionally. You know what I mean? And I'm going to take it back even to when you were matriculating through school. I remember after you graduated from undergrad and then you start doing your postgraduate work and things like that. And you and James had gotten married and then you had children during the season of you being in school. And I'm going to be completely honest. I was saying to myself, how in the world are you doing that? And I think I even asked you that once. I'm like, girl, how you all the way, you in full-fledged medical school and having a baby and being married? Like, that's a lot. And I do feel like everybody is built differently and people can take things on differently. But I would like for you to share, because I think one thing that, especially when we're navigating, trying to figure out what our lane is, what our path is, trying to make sure that our career is heading in the right direction, but still at the same time cultivating those relationships that are meaningful to us. How did you really navigate all of those different things? And I'm sure I always have this thing like there's never any perfect balance, but I would like for you to share with people, because I'll be honest, you made it look real easy, girl. I was like, you better come on here with the medical school and the pregnancy and the marriage and the new husband. Baby, how are you doing it? And so I would like for you to share, like, how did you get through that? Because people are out here struggling. Like, I don't know how to do this. What does that look like? Will you paint the picture for us?
Yeah, and I think that folks are looking in saying, how is she doing that based on their perspective of how it's been for them? So, everything that I've done has been by the grace of God. I would be remiss if I didn't say that. But there are some practical things. First of all, my husband and I are partners. Like, he's literally my best friend. And if I could say one thing that's made the difference in my life, it's been my husband. Amen. My husband is not the type of man that demands us to have like gender specific roles. Mm-hmm. So, for example, I do the budget for our house. Most men do the budget for their home.
Right.
We've never been like that because we've never had the luxury to be like that. Mm-hmm. My husband was giving our kids baths in medical school. He was cooking dinner. He was doing his version of cleaning. It was very much a partnership, and it was sort of lopsided because there were times where he was doing 90% of the work because I was on call. But when we committed to each other, we committed to each other. And that was through good times, through bad times. And so I would say, if you're gonna have a lot of kids like me, you better make sure you have some support. And that may not be your husband. It may be that you have a mom or a sister around that can help you share the load, but you cannot do this load by yourself as a woman.
Yeah.
You definitely have to have help. And I think a lot of women have to be in this role by themselves. So they limit themselves in how many children they can have, what career they can have, all of that, because it's on them. But I'm thankful to have had my husband. We were in Chicago for med school, so it was literally just us.
Yeah.
The other thing is I did have to make a lot of sacrifices. I had to say no. I wasn't at every wedding. I missed some dear friends' weddings. I missed some funerals. I missed some hanging out. Like, I literally got cut off from my friendship. Like, we had really good friends in Greensboro. We had a really good church. I was literally separated from that. And I think God was strategic in taking me to Chicago because I didn't have the temptation to be everywhere with every person. And so we really just had the time to focus on the task at hand. So it was hard. It was very hard not being in the mix, not having the money to always fly back and go here and there. There was a period of time where we had to make that sacrifice. And so I think you just have to be ready for it. I always tell people most things in life are temporary. Like, we're afraid of the hard, right? But the hard doesn't last always. So I remember having a countdown to say, all right, this many days until I'm on break. And that's what would keep me going. But if I was afraid of hard things, then I would never pursue it. But, you're going to have hard times whether, you plan for it or not.
You better believe it.
But you might as well figure out how to navigate. And I'm just the type of person, I can do anything hard, as long as I know it's going to have an end in sight. And so that's how we were able to get through that. But I mean, I thank God for my husband. I thank God. James is a special man. He's a special man. I remember even in dating, it was just different. One time we had some dinner over my parents' house, and James was making my plate. And my dad looked at me like, are you crazy? Like, why is he making your plate? Because everybody else, they were making plates for their, it was an indication. It was an indication at that time how selfless he would be. Even putting his dreams on the back burner for me. And many times it's the woman who's doing that for the man, putting their dreams on the back burner to push the man. So if we learn as a society how to just reverse when we need to, then I think both can move forward in time. Now I'm able to push him in what he's doing. So I think that's the main thing, the main reason why it looked easy. It wasn't easy. But I think we were able to work it out. The other thing is I'm called to do what I do. So, if I was trying to be a beautician like you, I would be an utter failure. Like a failure. Because that's not what I'm called to do. I would have no business. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what I'm called to do. When you find what you're called to do and the Almighty God is backing you, there's nothing you can't do. I not only had children, but I lost my father. I lost my grandmother, all in this period of time. But it was like I couldn't fail. I could have hard times, but I couldn't fail. Because he was backing me. And when he's backing you, you can do anything you want to do.
You are so right. And a few things I thought about while you were speaking. One is just so as people are listening, a few things that you can point out that I want to bring to light is that you talked about, of course, the partnership. And I think that so many times in relationships, they are one-sided. And that's really where the relationship fails. You know what I mean? And it's not about whose job and this is my role and that's your role. Every relationship has their agreement and what makes them tick. But even and what you're saying is so true, because even for Brian and I, it's the exact same thing. Like, we are truly, we have a partnership. Like, this is just what it is. Like, and the other thing is, it's the sacrifice. I think so many times people, they want the end result, but they don't see the sacrifice that goes into it and all the work leading up to what you actually end up seeing. So all we see is, oh, I'm so proud of you. Oh, congratulations. Oh, you're so amazing. And not knowing all of the hard work and the sacrifice you did on the back end to get to the congratulations. And so, we often like to go around the process, but the process is a part of the end story and the end goal. And so I'm so glad that you shared that, because so many people like to, especially now with social media, it's like, yes, I arrived. Yes, I did this. Yes. And not that you're that person, because you're not at all. But I think so many times success is glamorized. Let me just say that. However, the process is, number one, not really discussed. And the process is not, people don't share their process because, of course, it's not ugly. It's not pretty. It's not entertaining. And, I was reading over your bio when you sent it over. And it's funny because I had a little moment. Excuse me, get myself together because I feel myself. I had a moment because as I was reading your bio, at the end, you put on there, success is. And I hold that in my heart because I remember your father sharing that when I first got the evangel. And so many times in life, and I'm going to share, I'm pausing intentionally. So many times in life, people think success is supposed to look a certain way. But what I had to learn throughout my journey in life is, between God and myself, we will determine what success looks like for me. I cannot say if I have 10 salons and I got 50 people working under me and I have all these programs that is now I'm successful. I could be in this one booth for 10 years, making an amazing impact and doing all that God has called me to do and truly be successful. And your dad really outlined that and was always so firm in that. Success is knowing God, knowing what he desires for my life, growing to my maximum potential, and sowing seeds that will benefit others. And that's on period. And once I really took on that mindset, it really helped me to take the pressure off of what other people thought my success was supposed to look like.
Absolutely.
Because it was like, no, I don't care what y'all think I should be doing. No, I'm doing what I know that I've been called to do. Because number one, I know God and I know what he's told me to do. I am impacting the lives of others. I'm sowing seeds into others and I'm maximizing my potential. And the great thing about it is when you know who you are and you know what God has done in you, through you, and the way that he is working through your life, you will truly understand that it's okay if I'm only called to this city. It's okay if I'm only called to just my family. It's okay if I'm only, or you may be like, no, my assignment is an MLK assignment, or my assignment, is a Barack Obama assignment. But nobody's assignment is smaller than the others because we all need everybody to fulfill their assignment. And once you walk in and fulfill your assignment, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. And so I had a moment when I was reading over your bio. I was like, that's it. That has always been it. And I'm just so grateful because I think about, of course, the seeds that are sown. And when we think about seeds that are sown, you also think about legacy. And legacy is, to me, not just in finance, in money, but the legacy that your seed leaves behind to impart into the lives of others. And I remember, let's get yourself together. I remember even when you were in high school and probably younger than that, and your dad would always be like, because Faith is going to be the doctor. And Faith, Faith, she said she want to go to medical school and she's going to do this and da 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 da. And I was always so excited about that for you, because when you grow up, and fortunately for myself, I've had the honor of being friends with countless preachers' children. My mother is now a pastor herself. She's been a pastor for several years now. But I've been in this church world and around, for a very long time. And I just have always admired the fact that you dance to the beat of your own drum. You've always been that person, period.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
okay, but I'm gonna do this over here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really care what y'all say. No, this is what I want to do. And so, and not in a way like a rebellion.
Not reckless. Not reckless.
Not reckless at all. Let me paint the picture. Not reckless at all. Definitely very intentional. But the word that kept coming to me was, you've always been very sure. And several probably months ago, I was listening to another beauty industries. They were doing a live, and he was talking about how so many times people are unsuccessful in their business. He said, a lot of y'all are gifted. He said, but you're not successful because you're unsure. He said, it doesn't mean that you're arrogant. It doesn't mean that you feel like you've arrived. He said, but one thing about me, I am sure in what I've been called to do. And that is one thing you've always exuded, this assurance, like, no, I'm sure this is what, and not to say that you didn't question things, but it was like, no, I know this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a doctor. I know I want to have a family. I know I've been called to this group of people. And I even remember, Faith, you were working, I think, at a doctor's office, or for maybe it was a doctor's office. I think it was a doctor's office, like in another part. It wasn't in Greensboro. It was like off, like maybe in Lexington or somewhere off. And you were like, yeah, I'm not going to work there no more. I'm getting ready to go to the health department or something like that, public health or something. And you tell me if I'm wrong, because maybe I'm remembering incorrectly. And you were like, no, I need to be with my people.
You're right.
Do you remember that? Am I telling the story right, or am I incorrect?
You're right. I needed to be with my people. So crazy story is that I didn't know any doctors. When I knew them from afar, but I didn't have a personal relation. Right. But I had a connection to this community health center in Greensboro. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to go there and shadow a doctor that I didn't know, but just to shadow a doctor. And I loved the mission of the community center. I loved the people they were serving. I loved the people. I just loved everything about it. It was not luxurious by any means, but I felt like it was ministry. I fell in love with it. And I said, if I ever become a pediatrician, I'm going to come back here. And that place was called Guilford Child Health in Greensboro, North Carolina. So fast forward, I did go to a place in another part of the state when I first got out of residency, and just did not feel a connection. That's a different topic for a different day.
Right.
I thought about the place that I volunteered back in high school and college. And Mattea, that's where I work today. Some of the same nurses that I worked with, and I told them I was coming back, I'm working with them now as a pediatrician. And It's not always easy. It can get ghetto sometimes, if I be honest. But that's with any job, right? But at the end of the day, I leave fulfilled. I leave like I made a difference. And I heard something yesterday, and I just want to share this, that purpose is not what you do. Purpose is the effect that you have. And so I feel like I'm making a positive impact. I feel like somebody's life is changed whenever I show up to work, and mine too. It's mutual. I learn so much every day. But definitely finding your purpose. If I could have a lifetime message, is finding your purpose, because that's how you can be sure. That's what gives you confidence. It's not that I'm naturally not a confident person. If I know God said something, though, like, I don't care what anybody else says. I literally don't.
Yeah.
Because it's just like the military. When you go to the military, you're not worrying about where you're going to eat. You're not worrying about where you're going to stay. You're not worrying about clothes, because you are on a mission. And whoever is assigned you to do that mission, they're going to take care of every small detail. I just have that confidence in God.
Yeah.
Like, if he doesn't say it, if he doesn't tell me to do something and I'm doing it, that's when you'll find afraid faith, because I'm nervous. I'm just nervous. If I don't care what it is. If I'm wanting to buy a piece of land, I'm like, God, I need you to tell me this, because then if I have times, I'm not thinking that it's self-imposed. So I always like to hear. That's why it's so important to have a relationship with God. And he doesn't speak to me every day, all day, but there are some things that he says for sure that are clear, and I take it to the bank. And
Absolutely.
It looks like confidence, but what it is my trust in him.
Yes.
And he hasn't failed me yet. And you know, he always said, he said numerous times, be strong and courageous.
Yes.
And that's what you can be strong and courageous, because he's backing you. So I would just encourage all the listeners, get that relationship with God. I mean, it's not just fire insurance. It's not just to save you from hell, but it's so that you can walk through this life with confidence and on purpose, and knowing that he's backing you. I've had hard times. I've gone up and down, in life, but I've always known that he was right there. And that made all the difference.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I want to ask you this, because I think so many times, and I won't say so many times, but there are times when you, of course, come from a very strong background. How do you find your voice and your lane? And how do you walk confidently in who you know you are, and still, or let me rephrase this. Let me rephrase it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel the pressure of the legacy of your family to do great and mighty things? Or do you feel like, I'm just sure in what this is? Or for people who because the question I really wanted to ask is, for people who feel like, I am trying my best, but I always feel like there's something like, almost, I don't want to say over me, but like the pressure of whether it's a family, whether it is a community I've come from, whether it is my name, but any of those things, those pressures, not that you put on yourself, but because of who you are associated with. How do you handle those pressures? Do you handle them well? Or what does that look like for people who may be like, I am trying my best, but every time I turn around, people just keep referencing and saying, and I just want to be me. Like, how do you really navigate that space? Or do you just like, it is what it is? How do you do that?
I say get free. Get free.
Yeah.
Comparison is the thief of joy. People will put, I'm sorry, I'm outside. People will put demands on you that they don't even have for themselves. Y'all, for real? Get free. Stay in your lane. Stay focused on what you have to do. Everybody's not going to be an entrepreneur. I mean, it sounds great. We get caught up in what sounds great. Do y'all know what being an entrepreneur means? You have to worry about overhead. Like, if everybody's an entrepreneur, who's going to be working for the entrepreneur?
Exactly.
I'm not saying don't pursue that, but we get so caught up in titles and numbers. I want to make 6 figures. Y'all, what is 6 figures? That's nothing anymore. Like,
right.
You need to figure out how you can maximize where you are. So that might be living low, that might be getting low and, budgeting, and that might just be your life. But if you are fulfilled, you can't write a check for peace. You can't write a check for any of that. And if you're always trying to live up to what someone else wants of you, what someone else thinks, you have the wrong idea. You have to get free, and the only person you have to answer to is God. Definitely you have people around you that you want to remain accountable to, but it's important to surround yourself with people, who have your best interest and that allow you to be free. I've never felt the pressure. The pressure might have been there. I don't feel that type of thing. I just don't. I just don't. I don't pay attention to it. And I think what helped me is my parents never made me feel like, I had to do it a certain way. My brothers have followed the footsteps of my father. I don't want to preach. I don't even want to take the mic. Do you understand what I'm saying? But they made that okay. I have some people say, well, did y'all have to sing in the church? No, we didn't have to do any of that. And I thank God for my parents who said, go get your education. Do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? Because they allowed us to be free. Now, there still were rules and there still was structure.
Oh, yeah.
But there was no pressure like I had to do it a certain way. They allowed me to make mistakes. There were some things that I didn't do the right way that were public. And, they didn't cover me to the point where they ignored what I did, but they didn't make me feel like you're going to get in more trouble because of who we are. They never make me feel like that. So I really don't get the whole pressure thing. It is very unnecessary. And I just say, get free and do what God has called you to do. Have the right people around you that can support you, not enable you. If you're doing the wrong thing, somebody needs to correct you.
That's right.
So I'm open to correction. But correction and being held accountable is different from pressure. Unnecessary.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is a question that I ask a lot of people because I'm very, very excited and very honored that I'm, connected to such amazing people. And the question that so many people want to know, just in general, is how do you create balance in your life? You are a pediatrician, you are a wife, you are a mother of 5, you are active in your church, you support your husband with his ventures, with his gardening and his community stuff. And on top of that, I see you out here on the gram enjoying your life. You're doing all the things. And I just want to know, I know what I do because I just had to make a decision, but I always like to get other people's perspective because it can be had, I guess you could say. But I would like to know, I want you to talk to us about that. What does balance look like for you, and how do you create balance in your life? Because a lot of people out here feeling a little overwhelmed with life. Yeah. And you seem to be, juggling your balls pretty well.
I do say no. There are things that my kids are not able to do because we're a big family. I'm not a sports parent. I'm not driving you all around town. I'm just not. I'm sorry. Y'all can go outside and play basketball, and that's your team. We're not driving to AAU. We're not doing any of that. So I'm sure my kids can tell you better than I how I balance, because they will have you driving everywhere. They will have you paying money. I'm not doing that.
Talk about it.
What I do say is when you all get to middle school, you can do whatever you want to do. You can stay at after school. So that's just an example of how we kind of keep it together. Our main focus is school. It is church, and then everything else as far as extracurriculars. Even some things in church. I'm like, y'all can't be in every play or be we can't do that right now. And so I think our kids, they've learned early how to sacrifice. But we supplement in other ways.
Oh yeah.
But we're just like, we can't do that. We don't have the time to go everywhere. As far as money is concerned, with balancing that, we have a tight budget in our home. My family grew up because my dad was always traveling. We ate out every single day. I know that may sound weird for some people, but Bravo's, Village Tavern, those people were our family. We came in there, they knew exactly what we were going to order. I can't do that. So we're eating at home tonight. You know what I mean? So that's how we kind of balance the finances of things. And then I pick and choose what I can do. And I only go after, I've never been the type of person to go after everything that I can. So just because you can do it doesn't mean you're supposed to be doing it.
You better say it.
And so I'm very intentional about how I spend my time, whereas other people may be able to, just do any and everything. I can't do that. But I do try to make sure that I up is meaningful. And I'm all in it. But a lot of auxiliaries in church I don't do. I just joined the choir. So anyway, so that's
wait a minute. Got your fa la 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 la. Let me. Yes, Annie.
Yes, and it's giving me anxiety because they want you to sing and dance at the same time, and I don't have rhythm. So that's giving me anxiety. Anyway, if that's something y'all want to pray about, y'all can pray about that with me. But I usually do things that have a time limit, right? So I don't do like all year auxiliaries. I'll do like a birthday committee because once that's over, it's over, So I do things in spurts. I don't do consistent things. Again, I can do anything hard if it's a short period of time, but I can't do those long-term commitments.
I'm with you. And it's so funny because I'm laughing because that's hilarious. But I feel the other day, one of my friends, she's like, Mattea, oh my God, I think you would be such a great coach and consultant. And I was like, I don't have the bandwidth for that. Like that meeting every single week and what you do last week? Did you do what we talked about? Like I don't have it in me. Like I just do not. You want to call and we can do a quick consultation over the phone. I am open to that. But that whole dragon stuff, I just can't do that. And I think I'm so glad you mentioned that. I'm one of them, and so when I mentioned this a lot. Several years ago, I did Strength Finders test. And in Strength Finders test, have you ever done that before?
I might have, but my ADHD won't let me remember if I did it or not. But I know, Is it like you're A or B or C or D or something like that? Or something else?
Okay, so it's not that one. This one like identifies the type of person you are. So like with me, my number one thing was I'm an activator. Like I'm a type of person, I can get you started and get you motivated and get you, that whole something like you saying doing over years at a time. And so years ago, I really would beat myself up because I'm like, Lord, I'm forever doing something new. Oh my God, I can't stick with something. I just cannot be committed. And then I realized after I took that test, because one of my friends is like a coach in the program, or whatever. And it's a test that a lot of corporations use so that they can identify the best fit for their employees and putting them in the right roles and things like that. It's a really, really good test if you all have never taken it before. But anyway, she was like, Mattea, you're an activator. So with activators, they like to get things started. And once it's started and they feel like they've checked the box, it's kind of like, okay, I'm done with this, on to the next. She's like, so just own who you are. It just is what it is. It's almost like, when you're raising kids and you're like, oh my gosh, they always talking and they always got something to say. And instead of you cultivating that part of their personality, you shut it down. It's like, okay, yeah, you are talking a lot. Yeah, it is a little annoying, but you know what? Maybe it's something there because possibly you're going to be a news reporter later on, or possibly you're going to be an attorney. Right. Like, it's like,
Yes. We're going to just have to teach you how to kind of bring it in a little bit. We're not going to suppress that. We're going to help God. We're going to help guide you and help you learn about timing. Yeah. But yeah, keep that up. Keep it up.
Exactly.
Also, our kids are in school. So, like I said, I can't wait till August gets here. I'm not a homeschool mom, right? So that's how I balance. How do you go to the gym there in school? How do you and your husband have dates during the day when they're in school?
Yeah, all of that. Yeah. That is so very true. I absolutely love that, and I really appreciate you sharing. And the thing that I was reading something the other day. I was reading this book, and one of the things that the author talks about is taking on challenges. And he said this quote. He's like, when he said, to always tell yourself, when I do hard things, my brain expands. And when you get that in your head, it's like, it makes me want to do hard things because I want that. I want my brain to be expanded. I don't want to be confined just to what I know and what's familiar and what's comfortable, but it's giving me an opportunity to stretch myself, to allow my brain to work at its maximum capacity, right? And so even with you doing all the things that you do, even down to I'm not even gonna lie now, I ain't got that yet. And you know, so you know where I'm getting ready to go.
What you say? Cross. What you say?
Ma'am. So Faith, my Faith.
Yes.
Several years ago, when you posted that you were going to, girl, I said, "Oh, sis, looking real snatched. What you doing? Oh, Mattea don't me." And I'm like, "Oh." So here I go, pulling up some little videos, and then you had kind of started posting. I was like, that ain't for me. And so, you know, everybody got their own journey. However, I have to report that I actually found a gym that was close to me, and I did try. Now, I died 3 times. I thought I said, now, Jesus, are you trying to, what are you, what is really happening here? Because.
But see, here's the perspective. I'm one of the weakest ones in my gym.
No way.
Oh, but when I post, it's all about perspective. But you can't tell me that. But I'm not the strongest one. So it's all about perspective. Start where you are. And I'm fine with my journey because I know I'm not 20 or 30 or any of that. So why am I comparing myself to them?
That's very true. I'm not even talking about you comparing yourself to other people. I'm talking about me just getting there, and the lady was like, "Go on over there and get you your little thing, and then we're gonna see where you are." And I said, we're gonna start with just the bar. How about that? Don't put nothing on the ends. I don't need none of that on the ends. Just let me get this bar up here and see where we're gonna go with that, because I have never done all of these shenanigans. My good girlfriend in Greensboro posted all on social media about this CrossFit. I came up here to try it, to see what it was going to be like. And I'm trying to get my spirit right. The lady was like, I think you can do it. You're going to be amazing. I said,
You can do it. Mattea, you're so funny.
Child.
But you look good though. So you're not gonna have to do what I have to do to look good. Yours, you know.
Well,
everybody ain't able like you, Mattea.
No.
Some people gotta go and lift and do some squats, but what just comes naturally 6,000 squats, child.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so weak. I'm just out here. I said, now listen. I said, baby, now you can't give me a whole lot of. And she's talking about, okay, get your whiteboard. We're gonna mark. These are the things that you're gonna do each one of these 10 times. I was like, man, this is the first time I came. She's like, you'll be fine. We're just gonna start out. And so I did go a few little times, but I just, I said, Mattea, this ain't you you need to start somewhere else. So I took my happy hips right on back to that Y, where I knew I was going to be able to do what I needed to do. I do my little extreme step. We works it out with the footwork. We do the mixed fit, do a little walking outside, get you with little birds chirping and carrying on, and we going about our way. See? Because I'm going to graduate to it one day. I did try this thing. Have you heard of a thing called TRX? Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I'm not sure about what it is. What is that?
Here I go. Brian's talking about that. Every time I turn around, you trying something. I said, well, I didn't know really what it was. I shows up to the class. I said, what is really happening here? So it's like these, not strings, but straps that are like attached to, like,
yes, and then you're on like a beam or something like that.
Right. So you're using like your own body weight, but you're using like these straps. Girl, that was I could not walk for a whole week. I said, see, now this right here, this is why. Mattea, stay with what you know, and you're doing too much. Slow it down. But I just absolutely love that and now you and your husband are doing that together. And matter of fact, just the other day, I saw this video that talked about how working out together as a couple builds your relationship. And I want to know, do you think, because me and Brian started walking like a week or two ago, because see, he used to be wanting to go with me, and I'm like, because you walk too fast, because you tall, and I ain't got time to be trying to catch up. I'm trying to skip and carry. Don't worry about it. Just go about you do yours.
Give me a scooter. I need a trolley. Give me a trolley.
I mean, he walking slow to try to accommodate me, and I'm trying to. Yeah. It was just a lot. And so we tried this again because I saw this video and they were talking about how it builds your relationship, blah, 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 blah. Now, do you find, or have you found, because you all have been doing it together for a while, that this has helped your relationship, or has it added an extra element or something new or different to your relationship now that you all are working out together?
Yes. It feels so good. We went from a couple trying to figure out how to squeeze in date nights. We don't even really need date nights anymore, because literally my husband and I meet at 12 noon every day. We go to the gym, and then we go eat lunch, and I go back to work. And that's our time. And it's like precious time. Like, we schedule meetings around that period. Like, that's our time. So, I am in withdrawal now, because during the summer, when the kids are home, it's a little bit different. But we certainly look forward to that. And, it's just like a 180 from not having any date nights early on in school and during training to being able to get together every day. I mean, we talk about everything in that 1.5 hour span. So it's been really good for our relationship. We have a totally different language now. Like, so how do you think he's going to do this workout? What was your PR today? So it's just added a hobby. I didn't have hobbies before. That's another sacrifice I had to make. Hobby? What you talking about, hobby? What is
right?
So now I have a hobby, and I love it. It's our time. It's our balance. And it may not be enough for somebody else, but it's enough for us. It just gets that time in. And pretty soon, these kids I have a son that is graduating next year. And
that
so time
crazy.
flies. Yeah, it sounds very crazy. Time flies. And so before you know it, we'll be able to have as much daytime. But this is good for now. It's been good.
I absolutely love that. That is that's so sweet. Now, when you all do that, how many days a week do y'all go to the gym, or y'all go to CrossFit?
We do a minimum of 4 days a week.
Oh, that's a lot.
So we do minimum of 4 days a week, and it's good. Like, that whole, people say it's a cult, but it's not. It's just a community. It's like, if you don't show up, you got to let people know you're not coming, because they'll call the police on you. Sort of like, Starbucks. It just is a community. And I'm not promoting this on your podcast, nothing like that. I don't have any financial, nothing like that. But it makes a big difference. And especially if you only do church, like, you just meet more people when you do more things, right? It's a great big world out there. Travel, meet people. You know what I mean? So, and that extends reach when you do that. It's been good for us. It's been good for us. CrossFit Versatile. I want to give them a shout out.
Yes. You definitely have done a phenomenal job with your journey and all of the things you're doing. Transform your body, your mind, your relationship. I think it's so important. And one of the things that I'll say, even as we wrap up, is that just in our conversation, the thing that keeps resonating with me is just intentionality. Even from, you finding your own way and being sure in the things you've been called to do, you've been very intentional. And I want, even as you're listening to this podcast, I feel like so many people feel defeated and feel less than and feel unaccomplished because they don't live an intentional life. And we know that we can, of course, plan our lives out the best to our ability, but ultimately we know God's plan is what's going to be
Mm-hmm.
best. But
Mm-hmm.
even in doing that and knowing that, it is so important to live with intentionality, whether it is going to the gym to intentionally date your husband or your spouse, or intentionally working at a particular place, or starting your business, or being a part of an organization. All of the things that you do, I often say to people, and when people ask me about how do you balance it all, you guys do so much. A few years ago, I took on this mantra, I guess you want to call it, that if it doesn't align with my purpose, the answer is always no.
Period.
And period. And when I say that, not necessarily like, oh my God, given purpose, like if it's not like this, then it's no. No, but
Sure.
there are certain things, just because it's good doesn't mean it's good for me. And
Right.
just be,
Right.
you know what I mean? And just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And I
Yes.
think so many times we get overwhelmed with life because we've committed to so many things that are
Overcommitted.
not, you overcommit yourself. And in this, as as you've been listening, I want you all to take that away. It, of course, it's been going around for a while now. No is a complete sentence, you know what I mean, type situation. People, posting that and making memes out of it. And it really is true. Like, no is me taking my power back, you know what I mean? And it doesn't have, for me, no does not have any emotion attached to it. It truly is a decision that I had to make, Brian and I had to make, so that our family would function a certain way. And so it's important for us to make sure that that wheel is continuously going. And because of that, we do have to live with intent. And I do I'm so glad you pointed that out with your kids, because people laugh at me when I say that. Because my daughter is the type of person, every time I turn around, child, she got me signing another permission
Yes.
slip.
Another
Signed up for
waiver.
this. I said, ma'am, no, I said, then listen, don't you bring here another one of these papers. I cannot, we gonna commit to what we can commit to. If
Absolutely.
that's it. If it's something, like you said, if it's something during the day you can do at school, but you're not getting ready to have me all around town. I done worked all day. I do not have the emotional and mental bandwidth to take on those things. Let's sit down and let's see, what are the things that you feel like you love the most? What can you commit to the most? And let's stick to that. And I want to see how commit, because the real flex is being committed to one thing intently and giving it 100%. Because what we're
And
not
that's
going to
the
do,
thing.
yeah,
That's the
because
thing.
what we
And I'm 5'2". So I'm 5'2". So I mean 5'1". So do you think you're gonna be an NBA star? We're not paying all this money and running around. My kids, they have a better chance at being a doctor than they have at going to the NBA or in MLB or any of those things. So
yeah,
let's use our brain
yeah,
about this.
yes,
This is just for fun. So we're not going to overcommit over something that in a few years it doesn't matter. So I'm trying to teach them
absolutely,
that too. Like, yeah, we will commit and make sacrifices and run ourselves crazy for things that I know are going to be lifelong and impact you
absolutely.
in that way. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation today. It was so, so good.
Thank
And I
you.
really appreciate you coming and sharing and just being so honest and open with us and walking us through what it truly looks like to walk out life
Yes.
today.
Thank
I
you,
don't
Mattea.
think, yeah, no, thank you. I come across so many people who honestly are really struggling. They struggling with day-to-day stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They got big issues too, but just day-to-day stuff. And I really feel like, because people don't have enough conversations like this to say, no, girl, you could do this. No, man, you could do this. Just it's little bit by little bit. It's intention by intention. It's about the
Sure.
sacrifice. It's about, living purposefully. Thank you all for joining in to another episode of Evolving Perspectives. I am so, so, so excited about this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Remember to follow, like, share, subscribe, download, and tell all of your family and friends about Evolving Perspective Podcast. We are truly changing the lives of people one episode at a time. And so, as I always like to close, remember to always keep evolving. Until next time, y'all be easy. Thank you again for tuning into Evolving Perspectives. Remember to like, subscribe, download, and share with your friends and family about our episode that releases every single Monday. And always remember to keep evolving. Until next time, be easy.